morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're watching. I don't know which time you guys are watching. But yeah, today we'll be presenting a C-based program that will allow users to browse products, track inventory, process transactions, and add or store items to carts. So here is a sample of the code right here, but I'm not going to explain it now. I'll hand it over to my colleagues to further explain it.
So I'm going to talk about the display section function. So we provided the display section function with three necessary parameters, which are the item type, the start, and then the end. With these three parameters, we are initially telling the program to display the items in a specific category. Start display from the start index and to stop displaying at the end index. So the next function I'll be talking about is the display store function, and it's responsible for displaying all the items in the store. Inside this display store function, we call a display section function, and we provide the display section function with three necessary parameters, which are the item type, the start, and then the end. Now, by calling the display section function with these parameters, we are initially telling it to display the item in a specific category, which is the item type, and to start display from the start index, and to stop displaying at the end index. This allows the program to neatly categorize and displays the item in the store. The items in the store are categorized into three different sections. Section 1 being the groceries, Section 2 also electronics, and then Section 3 also houseware. These sections help organize the items in logical and user-friendly manner, making it easier for the customers to find what they are looking for. So under the grocery section, we have milk powder, which have two brands under it, which are the cowbell milk powder and then the nido powder. So the milk powder starts from 0 and ends at 2 because it has two brands in the store area.
So this is the function to display the cart, which means that when you open your shopping application, this code, this block of code right here is what is responsible for displaying the amount of things you have in the cart in an orderly manner. It will give you the name, the price, and the quantity. Now, we come here with the if condition, which says that assuming the number of items in your cart is equal to 0, which means that the number of items in your cart is assigned cart count. So if cart count is equal to 0, it's going to let the user know that your cart is empty. The printf statement, your cart is empty. Now, you come here, you meet this loop, which says that if int I is equal to 0, that's the default value, assuming that the user hasn't selected anything that is in the cart. So it allows the user to increase the number of items in the cart with a value of 1. That's where the I++ comes in. And this function or this loop will now tell the computer to go through each of the items that the user have selected one by one, displaying its price in 2 decimal places and the quantity.
In managing the user's cart, we use the store array and the cart array. The store array stores items in the shop and the cart array stores items that are added by the user. We also declared 2 non-return functions using void, the add to cart function and the modify cart function. The add to cart function allows the user to enter an item's ID in order to add the item to the cart. The user's input is stored in choice, and choice is reduced by 1 because of the 0-based indexing of the store array. On line 146 and throughout the code, we perform error handling by checking if the quantity the user wants to buy is greater than the quantity of the item you have in the store, and display an error message which says insufficient stock available. In the case where an item is added multiple times, the program checks to avoid duplicating the item in the cart. We use the string compare function to compare cart I.name, which is the items in the cart array, and store choice.name, which is the choice the user wants to add. We use the string copy function to store the name of the item to be added into the cart array. We then proceed to update the cart quantity, cart count, store quantity, and total price. In the modify cart function, we call the display cart function, which prints the items available in the cart and requests the user to enter an item ID in order to remove the item or reduce its quantity. In the case where we want to remove an item completely from the cart, we request for the item ID and subtract 1 from the item's ID. We use the for loop setting a counter to the item's index as our I is less than cart count minus 1 and I increases. We assign the next item, which is I plus 1, to the current item we want to remove, which is I. So in case the item to be removed has an index of 6, the next index, which is 6 plus 1, is moved into 6. The for loop runs for all values of I until it gets to the last value and leaving an empty space at the last value. In case the item is the last item in the array, the item will not be moved because the condition will not be true. The cart count is then reduced by 1, removing the space at the end of the array or removing the last item.
Okay, so here we have void payment details, which is basically a function that allows the user to be able to access payment-related info after checkout. So as you can see, you have a lot of lines of printfs here. So basically, they are just discounts. That one is for the discounts. Delivery fee, whether home or pickup. Net amount just shows everything after the discounts and everything. Then we have the amount paid. That's the amount paid by the user, and loyalty points. So that's basically like if the user has bought a lot of things, we give him something like a reward or something. So after that, we have the void checkout. So the void checkout handles, it's a function that handles user details, payments, and order confirmation. We have int trends here. That's a variable that is used in the function. So we'll be using this data in the code. Then we have if cart count is equal to 0, print your cart is empty. So that means that it prints a message and stops the checkout process when the code is returned. If the cart is not empty, it will continue with the code. So the int method declares a local variable which is not needed because user.method exists. So the int method declares a local variable, but it's not really needed because the user.method already exists. Then we have the get card, which is used to consume any leftover characters from previous inputs. So like we are getting previous inputs. Then we have the fget for skipping input fields. Then we move on to the next line of code, which basically tells the user to enter his name. So enter full name, the user enter his name. Then we have fget, which is used instead of scanf to allow spaces in the name, so that we can like have surnames and other stuff. But if we use scanf, the compiler will forget the surnames due to the spaces. Then move on to the next line of code, which is enter the address. Same thing, we use fget for the namespaces, and we use it to store the user's address. Then we go on to pretty much the same thing. But here, since it's just home or delivery, we can use the scanf. So loyalty points is equal to cart count times 0.5. So this calculates the loyalty points based on the number of items in the cart. So perhaps let's say you have 10 items in the cart, it will give you 5 loyalty points and so on. And discount is equal to loyalty points times 0.025 times total price. So this basically calculates the discount at 2.5% of the total price, then multiplies it by the loyalty points. Then the net total, that's everything combined, is equal to the total price minus the discount plus the delivery fee. Then handling delivery option. If user.method is equal to 1, so that's basically if the user selects home delivery, the delivery fee is equal to 25.50 CDs. Yeah, 25.50 CDs. The net total is equal to the total price minus the discount plus delivery fee. If user method is equal to 1, that's basically if the user selects home delivery. delivery fee is equal to 25.20. The net total, that's the total for the whole thing, the total price, the discount, the delivery fee. Yeah. Then that's basically for the net total. Then so the net total is basically like the total price minus the discount plus delivery fee. So that's like the sum of the whole thing. Then we want to print F order confirmed. Then print F home delivery /n. So the /n basically just lets it run on a new line. So print order confirmation encodes the order details. So that's what we are using here. We are calling the function order details. So if user method is not 1, which is 2, that means it's pick up. So the delivery fee is 0 because the person is come to pick it up themselves. And the net total is equal to total price minus discount because that one you don't need delivery fee. Then that one also prints order confirmed and pick up /n new line. And we also call the function order details. Here we have print F discount. So the .2f basically is like 2 decimal places. So discounts applied. So that's the discount that I'll show here. So the discount in 2 decimal places and the amount paid in 2 decimal places. If the user enters an invalid option, it prints error. So that's invalid selection. So now move on to the handling of the payment. So we have print F, enter amount to make payment. So the scanf is a float. So we'll use the %f. Then if the amount, if the user pays less than the required amount, the transaction is rejected. So it won't go through. And if the user pays more than or equal to the net total amount, the balance is equal to the amount minus the net total. So then we have print F balance. So that's the balance left. So the change will give the user and the loyalty points that have been applied to the checkout. So if the pickup was selected, it informs the user that the order is ready. And if home delivery was selected, that's the else if method is equal to 1. It informs the user of a 30-minute delivery time, depending on where the user is. So cart count is equal to 0, total price is equal to 0. So this basically allows us to reset the cart after payment. So it clears the cart and resets the total price after a successful payment to prepare for the next transaction. So this function ensures that the user can place orders, choose delivery options, process payments, and receive order confirmation. It also kind of like calculates discounts, loyalty points, and ensures secure transactions.
So this is the part of the code that will take your issues you have with the store, and it will give you adequate response. So the void command here, it will return nothing. Then we declare some variables. You have the choice. As an integer and submit. So when you start, you enter the function, the report issue section of the code. They first ask you for the name, and then your number, your contact, your address, and then the issue you are facing. But bear in mind that because you've already entered the name above, the name you are going to enter must also correspond with the name you enter here, because if it doesn't correspond, that means you've not got anything from our store and you will get nothing. Yes, if the contact also does not correspond, you will get nothing. If the address does not correspond, you get nothing. Okay. So now, the type of issue you are facing, yes, it can be either a delivery issue, a payment issue, or others. But someone will go and then go and type, there are only 3 issues here. But someone will go and type, let's say 5. So we have the if command, the if statement here to check whether the answer the person has provided is within the range of the code, so that it will be able to give the person an adequate response. And if the person enters, let's say, a number greater than 3 or less than 1, the code will tell him or her invalid section. And if the choice of the person is 1, that's a delivery problem, then we will tell you that you should give us a description of the issue, and then we'll come back to you. If the choice is the payment, same thing you get. Others will tell you to give a brief description. Okay, so now you submit and then or you cancel. So to submit or cancel, some here we have submit goes with 1 and cancel goes for 2. So if you are going to submit and then you press 3, the code will tell you that it's invalid, so it will return nothing to you. You get 0, tell you invalid section. And if you press 2, enter 2, it will tell you that it has been cancelled. If you enter 1, your issue has successfully been submitted, and then you'll be contacted by our support. We'll get back to you. So now the function to generate the receipt. So this part of the code will generate the receipt for you. You enter your name, your full name, as the one you entered above, and then it will give you everything that you need, whatever is in your cart, the things you got, the delivery fee, the total price, and then the discount, and also give you whether it is home delivery or not. But if the name you entered is not in our system, we will tell you that customer name was not found. So this is the simple code for the generate receipts inside. Thank you.
Next, we come straight forward to the main menu that displays. We come to the main menu that displays the view shop and view cart. We use a function in C called the switch. What this does is that it checks the. I forgot it. Now we come back to the next piece of code, which means that when you open the shopping application, it takes you to a menu that shows you what to do. The display store, display cart, add to cart, modify cart. Now we used a special function called the switch function. What this function does is that it evaluates the expression that you've given it and compares it to the assigned value, which means that we've given the expression that if user takes one, it should display the store. So the switch checks that if the input the user has given is equal to any of the cases here, it will evaluate the function. So if user has taken option 2, it will run through all the cases. Now option 2 matches with case.
Our shopping system is running in the terminal, and this is the main menu of the shopping system. So let's select option 1 to view the store items. These are the store items, and they are stored in sections. Section 1 is groceries, section 2 is electronics, and section 3 is houseware. We have our main menu at the bottom here, so let's choose option 3 to add items to our cart. So they are requesting for the item ID. So let's select item 22, which is Binatton blender. 22. I'm buying 2. Item added to cart successfully. So let's add another item. We've added multiple items to our cart. So now let's view our cart to see if we want to proceed to payment or we want to make some adjustments to the cart. So we choose option 2 to view our cart. So now we have 5 items in our cart: Binatton blender, Samsung television, Nido, Milo, and refrigerator. So I don't want to buy the refrigerator again, so I want to remove it. So we'll choose option 4. Now the program is asking us to enter the item number to continue. So the item number for the refrigerator is 5. Now enter the quantity you want to remove or want to remove completely. I want to remove it completely, so I enter 1. Now the program says item removed from cart successfully. Let's view the cart again. Now we have 4 items in the cart. Now I don't want to buy 2 blenders, I want to buy 1. So let's try to adjust the quantity of the blenders that we have in the cart. So we choose option 4. Then enter item number to continue. The number is 1. Enter the quantity you want to remove or 2 to remove it completely. I want to remove 1. So I input 1. The program tells me item quantity updated successfully. So we view cart again to see if it's true. So we can see here that the quantity of the blender is now 1. So we proceed to payment, which is option 5. So the program is asking for my name. I input the name and then my address. Okay, pick one option to continue: home delivery or pickup. I want home delivery, so I select option 1. After confirming to make payment, the program displays the user's details, the cart items, the total price to be paid, the discount, the delivery fee, and the total amount. So now the total to be paid is 23,276 Ghana cedis, 75 pesos. So I'll input 25,000 as the amount I want to pay. Now we see a message saying payment successful. Balance 1,723 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos. Loyalty points is 2. Now let's proceed to generate our receipt. So we choose option 6. The program asks for our full name and we input the name we used for the payment. Joseph. The program displays the user's details, the name and then the address, the items of the cart, the payment details, the loyalty points. Now, the user can view shop, add items, and purchase again if they want, or they can input it to exit. If a user is having any issues, they can report the issue by selecting option 7 and enter their full name, contact detail. Then they select the issue they are having, either it's a delivery issue, payment issue, or others. So we choose option 1, delivery issue. Then the program asks them to give a brief description of their problem. We choose option 1 to submit. Submitted successfully, you will be contacted by our support team.